You are Locked On Giants POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, we are back. The Giants finally wrapped up their season mercifully against the Eagles in Philadelphia. And guess what? The Giants lose again. What else is new? 20-13, the final score. Big Blue finishes the campaign 3-14. That's the bad. The good Malik Nabers, once again a bright spot. He sets the Giants single-season receptions record. We'll get to all of it. Hello, everyone. I'm Jay Berman. If you're a New Yorker, you might recognize my work. If not, welcome aboard. Follow me on X at Jay Berman, Jayberman. Also pleased to have Dr. Anthony Blevins. As always, he's here with us. The former Giants special teams coach joins us every week right here on the POSTCAST. Welcome to the Locked On Giants POSTCAST, both on the Locked On Sports New York YouTube channel and the Locked On Giants podcast feed. The POSTCAST gives you a place to hang out after every single Giants game. There are no more, folks. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We'll discuss Drew Lock. We'll discuss Malik Nabers. We'll do it all coming up on the POSTCAST. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Coach, one more for the loss column, 20-13. They fought, but again, it's another loss. All right, looks like we're having some difficulty there with Coach and his microphone. We'll get back to that coming up. But again, the Giants lose 20-13. Drew Lock, as we said, 22 of 29 for 138 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. We talked about Malik Nabers, who, of course, is a stud. We knew that. 5 for 64 and the touchdown. Obviously, that would be huge. Do we have Coach back with us? No, we don't. So we'll continue on. We'll hope to get Coach back. Again, Malik Nabers, 5 for 64. And that score, the Giants, as we said, 3-14. They did avoid an 11 straight loss last week, but they could not put it together. The Giants have never lost 14 games in a season. They did so this season. Again, the worst record they had ever had was 1-12-1 in 1966. Obviously, the Giants outdid themselves this year. They've never lost 14 games. Now they have. And again, the Giants will have to discuss whether we have Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen next season. As for Nabers, he was brilliant. He had, as we said, a record-breaking season. Finishes with 109 catches, the most catches in a single season in Giants history. Steve Smith had 107 back in 2009. Don't forget, folks, Nabers also played 2 fewer games, missed 2 games with the concussion. So he only played 15 while Steve Smith played 16 games. Looks like Brock Bowers is going to break the all-time record for rookies. He had 108 coming into today, and his game is about to get underway. All right, looks like we have Coach back. Coach, your thoughts on a 20-13 Giants loss?
Yeah, well, Giants fans, be glad this is the last time you get a chance to watch the Giants this year. It was – it was bad. We talk about it the same week. The first half, I felt like I was at a funeral. The only thing missing from the first half was Amazing Grace. I was just kind of waiting for the Philly fans to Amazing Grace. Like, that's what it felt like the first half. Drew Lock had 30 yards passing at halftime. He had 84 yards total offense at halftime. It was a bad showing. Now, to their credit, they came out in the second half, and Daboll must have flipped a chair or slammed a locker or did something at halftime, because they came out and showed some life. They came out and showed that they're a team capable of winning. But I really think the big picture, if you really think about the big picture of it, it's really an indictment of where the Giants roster is compared to Philly. Philly, they played their JV. They played the guys that play on Tuesday, not Tuesday night, not the guys that play on Friday night. And for it to be a game where Philly won with their backups when New York played their starters, I thought it was a real indictment of where the roster is and how big that gap is between Philadelphia and the New York Giants.
Not only that, Coach, I couldn't decide, and obviously there'll be no admitting this, but I couldn't decide if they were tanking or not. Nabers in, Nabers out, Nabers in, Nabers out, including the very last possession where he started and then came off the field. So obviously players aren't trying to tank. Things are different from the front office and certainly for the coaching staff. Again, it felt like the Giants couldn't make up their mind today.
Yeah, it definitely was confusing why Malik was in, why Malik was out. I know he's been banged up and dealing with a bunch of injuries all year, but at that point of the game, especially the last drive, you're in it. You're in a 7-point ball game, a chance to go down and score, tie it up, go to overtime, and do something for your season as a player. Like I really didn't understand why he was in and out of the game. They've got to kind of figure that out moving forward. But I think that's the gap when you talk about the difference between the elite teams in the NFC East and the bottom tier teams in the Giants.
As we said, most catches in a single season in Giants history with 109, passing Steve Smith. And as we said, Coach, he only played in 15 games, missed 2 games with a concussion. So to put a bow on this, a special season for Malik Nabers, who got to play with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito. So he catches 109 balls and 7 touchdowns with what we would easily call inferior quarterback play.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's a special talent. He's going to be a New York Giant. He's going to be an elite receiver in this league for a long time to come. They're going to be glad they picked him up, and they're going through these growing pains with these young players, especially with a Malik Nabers, because he's an all-pro caliber receiver. When they get a quarterback next year, hopefully they get a quarterback next year, somebody that can get the ball to him, get it to him in space and on time. But I will say this, they have got to do a better job of game planning things to get him the ball. There was moments in the game where he just completely disappeared again. And it's the same storyline week in and week out. Why do you not get your best players the ball? They started off the first play of the game. They got it to him on a little reverse or a speed sweep, got it to him. And then they threw a screen pass to him. He dropped it, but you still got to force feed him. He's that good where he's the only thing you got on offense besides Tracy. You've got to find a way to get him the ball.
What's up with the drops? By the way, Nabers leads the NFL, or led the NFL now that the season is complete, with 11 drops, including 2 today. We saw Tracy with drops difficulties earlier in the season. Obviously, it's something you can correct, and I would imagine they will correct over the offseason.
Yeah, he's just got to go in, and when you play with different quarterbacks, the ball spins different, comes off the hand a little bit different. You see it a little bit different. So that could be part of it as well. I do think just being a young player playing the amount of plays that he's played this year, that can be, a little bit hard on him from a standpoint of the mental preparation moving forward, having to play, having to see it, dealing with a concussion. Those are a lot of things. And then later in the year, it gets colder, the ball's a little bit harder, it's a little bit slicker. So there's a lot of things that'll factor into it. Next year, I expect him to be better moving forward because he'll have a year under his belt and he'll know how to prepare, what to expect as the weather changes there in New York.
What was frustrating, at least from a fanboy perspective, if you will, is offensively, really nothing downfield. And obviously, we're playing with a lot of backups, especially on the offensive line, which, by the way, 10 different offensive line combos this year, the most in the NFL with the Pats. They each did it 10 times last season as well for the Giants, just to give you some perspective. But again, nothing downfield. Nabers and Wan'Dale combined for 19 targets and 15 catches and just about 100 yards. So again, nothing downfield.
Well, when you go back to halftime, I think Drew Lock was 8 of 11 for 30 yards at halftime. The only pass I remember him throwing was a deep pass on 4th and 1. They threw a deep pass, which was incomplete. They came back, hit a deep pass for a touchdown. And then on 4th and 2 3rd and 2 at the end of the game, they throw another deep pass. That just watching the game, that's the only deep passes I remember. You win games by explosive plays. You have to have explosive plays in the run game, in the pass game. They got neither today, and I think it's indicative of the score.
Yeah, it's also an indication of just how poor the quarterback play has been, be it Jones or Tim Boyle or Tommy DeVito or obviously Drew Lock. As Coach Dable said this past week, you win with good quarterback play. You lose when you don't get that. And the Giants haven't really been getting that all season.
Well, they haven't, but that's their own fault. They've had a chance to get quarterbacks, trade quarterbacks, do whatever they wanted to. That's their own fault. They can only blame themselves for that. And then what you have to do something with it. You have to be able to manufacture it. But I thought early in the game, they were very conservative in their play calling. So you can't blame that on the quarterback play. Drew Lock being 8 of 11, that's pretty efficient with the football. So to say that they're not getting good quarterback play, well, that's kind of, taking defense on yourself a little bit in that, because 8 of 11, like most people will take that at halftime. They've just got to be able to throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, there has not been anything down the field, even with Nabers at any point this season. Nabers had 5 for 64 and the score was 45. So again, almost 3/4 of his yards on one play. Yes, it was a great play and it was a touchdown, but still, again, as we said, nothing downfield. Wan'Dale had 10 catches for 43 yards. Again, everything over the middle to Wan'Dale. Yes, that's his position. He's a slot receiver, and you're working with backup quarterbacks and a backup offensive line. But again, at least give it a shot. Try and loosen things up a bit, don't you think?
I do. They ran the ball efficiently enough to get some play action, take some play action shots. I just thought they went into it probably concerned about the offensive line, but you got to go out there and play. Like, you can't be concerned about what you think they can't do. Go out there and let them play. Make them prove you wrong. And I really didn't like the conservativeness in the play calling, especially early, and not being able to take shots downfield and try to expose some things. Because you got to remember, they're playing with the offensive line, but Philly's playing with backup D linemen. So I don't get the disconnect. Like, let's go out and play. Go out and play the football game.
Yeah, agreed. And it's interesting times now for the Giants. We'll talk about the draft pick. We know where the Giants will pick. We'll do that next after this quick break. Giants Postcast, me and the coach with you right here on YouTube. All right, we'll start by telling you that you can grow your small business in 2025. It comes down to how well you can hire. Let's face it, better hires start with smarter insights. That's where LinkedIn comes in. With the strongest hiring data available, LinkedIn helps you identify the right candidates, giving you the confidence to make the best decisions for your business. I've used LinkedIn Jobs myself, and I can tell you it's a game changer when it comes to hiring the right fit. Small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, so every hire is crucial. LinkedIn gets that. That's why they connect you with the best candidates using data you won't find anywhere else. From unique skills and interests to the connections you share, LinkedIn helps you find the right person for the job. In fact, 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn has helped them find high-quality candidates. I know from experience how important it is to make the right hiring decisions. Having access to insights like what skills candidates have or how they're connected to your network, well, that helps you feel confident when you pull the trigger. Hire smarter this year and find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, one more. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. For me, one of the best features is the subscription tracker. I've used it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore, and I've already saved a ton. Plus, with their goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions, reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, we are back. The coach and I, 20-13. Eagles beat the Giants. Eagles 14-3. Giants flip it, 3-14. And because of it, we now know exactly where the Giants will pick in the upcoming draft, coach. Not one, not two, but three. Titans, Browns, Giants, Pats. That's your top four for the draft in April.
Yeah, for them to finish third is concerning for me, because they've got to take a quarterback. You know, in the top two right now, as we sit here on January 5th, Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. If I'm Cleveland, I'm taking a quarterback. Unless they make a trade or something happens, they're gonna be out of that quarterback market, I think, which is going to be very concerning for the future moving forward. I don't know who's that third guy. I don't know if it's I don't know who that third guy is, who they would consider that third guy. But Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are the best two quarterback prospects in the draft this year.
Yeah, as you said, the Browns with Deshaun Watson, who knows what's in their plan? They might not even know. The Titans are certainly taking a quarterback at one, obviously one of those two guys. Any chance we see a trade to one or two? Unlikely, but possible. Your thoughts?
I think it's highly unlikely, because if I'm taking a quarterback sets your franchise. Cleveland and the Titans, they definitely need a quarterback. Deshaun Watson, he's been hurt. He hasn't been able to stay healthy since he's been in Cleveland. They've got Jameis Winston as a backup, DTR as a backup. They played Bailey Zappi last night. So they don't have a quarterback either for the future. The Titans, they have Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. Yeah, they better get a quarterback too. So the Giants, I don't think you trade. I don't think they will get a trade, but I would definitely try.
Yeah, and as you said, the quarterback is the key, and that's what the Giants are in business for. They could have drafted one last year. They decided to take Nabers at 6. The question now is, do they take the best player available? Maybe Travis Hunter, a little two-way action. But again, do they take the best player there, or do they maybe trade down and take a quarterback later in the first round? All these possibilities just sort of floating around in the head, if you will.
Well, they've got so many needs and so many. They need pieces on defense. They need pieces on offensive line. They've got so many pieces. Like, it would make sense to probably trade back and get more picks. But the thing is, what do they get in free agency? That's going to determine how the draft picks go. If they can get a quarterback in free agency that they feel comfortable with, trade for J.J. McCarthy, and maybe they have to trade that first-round pick. Just J.J. McCarthy was a first-round pick a year ago, tore his knee up, so he didn't play. So you don't really know what you're getting. So it may cost them that number 3 pick overall to get a quarterback. So there's going to be a lot of options that they'll have in the offseason. But I'm thinking, if it's me, probably depending on what happens in free agency, and then if I get what I need in free agency, trade back and try to get some extra picks and try to build this team, because they've got a lot of holes to fill. Offensive line, defense. I mean, they've got holes all over the place. It's like Swiss cheese over there. They got so many holes.
Yeah, right. And what's interesting is, and sometimes people forget, they figure that things can get better with the top draft pick, and they certainly can. But don't forget, the Giants will have the 3rd pick in every round. So there are plenty of chances to stockpile that roster, as you said. By the way, Giants haven't beaten the Eagles in Philadelphia, including the playoffs, since 2013. That's 12 consecutive games they have not won in Philadelphia. Coach, before we do big picture stuff, a house of horrors. Philly is exactly that at the link.
Yeah, every time the Giants go down to Philly, it's like Halloween. It's like Jason Myers. I mean, it's just a absolute nightmare for the Giants to go into the link in Philadelphia. And I don't know what it is, and the Giants have got to figure it out because I don't see with Saquon, that offensive line coming back, I don't see it getting better in the future. They have got to figure out how to win the East and be able to build it where they can compete in the East. Right now, they are not built to compete in the NFC East with no team, Washington, Dallas, or Philly right now.
By the way, Eagles get a home playoff game. They'll face the Packers. That's been decided. Next week, Eagles will host the Packers. We'll take our final break. We still have to do big picture stuff, staying or going, specifically Shannon Dable. We'll do that next with the coach and I. All right, from big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs, better with, you guessed it, FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. As for the numbers today, we'll start with the Giants, obviously. The Giants were getting 3. They did not cover. The Eagles did. Laying 3. They again cover. 20-13 was the final score. Total was 36. The under comes in as well. Again, 20-13. So the Eagles win, cover, and under 36 hits. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, Coach, as we said, House of Horrors, Giants lose again in Philadelphia. Mercifully, Coach, no more losses this season. It's over.
Thank goodness. I mean, there's no more planes. There's no more New York Post headlines. It's over. So we can rest and get on to the draft and get on the next season, and hopefully everything will be better. It's really, I didn't really expect the Giants to win a Super Bowl or maybe even make it to the playoffs this year, but I thought they would be competitive. So this is a very disappointing Giants team, and we can talk about the injuries. We can talk about Daniel Jones, but none of that really matters. It's the guys that are there, the guys that are in the locker room. And for Saquon to go to Philadelphia, rush for 2,000 yards, I think it just shines light on where the New York Giant franchise is right now in this moment.
And that's a perfect segue into our big picture question. Shane, Dable, together, separate. What happens, Coach? We've discussed this obviously a lot the last month, pretty much every week. I'll say this. I think they should be gone, but I think they stay. Your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think they should be gone, and I think they should be viewed as a package deal. But, whatever they do, I will say this. If they fire Joe, they should fire Daboll. If they keep Daboll, they should keep Joe. They should be viewed together because both of these guys have blood on their hands. We'll talk about, and I've been an advocate for all the young players that they've had and developed. Drew Phillips, Malik Nabers, Tyler Nubin, but that's just one draft. They've had plenty of other drafts where they've missed. The Evan Neals of the world. Kayvon Thibodeau did not have a good season this year.
Killer penalty today, by the way, too.
The penalty is just indicative of how the Giants season has been. It was undisciplined, untimely, and not that it cost them the game, but it cost them a chance to win the game. To get the ball back with 1:40 on the clock, can go down and score. I think they had 2 timeouts still at the time. So it was just indicative of how the season went at that particular point in time. But I do think, back to the point, that the Giants have got to have some type of consistency. And I think they stay with them, even though I think they probably should be gone. I think they probably stick with the process, and keep Joe and keep Daves and give them one more year and run it back and see what happens from there.
On the Fox pregame show, the game was on CBS today, but on the Fox pregame show, Jay Glazer said that he believes Dable and Shane are safe. As we said, if Mara knew he was going to clean house weeks ago, he might have done it already. So from a Dable Shane perspective, perhaps that's a good sign that they haven't been given the boot yet.
Yeah, I think so. I think John really wants to stick with these guys because they've changed coaches over the last 4 coaches. They changed every 2 years. So Dayball and Joe, they've gotten 3 years together, 1 year being a playoff run. So I think you stay with it because you've seen what they can do. And I really, in my personal opinion, I think they need to stick with it just from a consistency aspect because like right now, who do you get? What head coach is out there that you can get? Is it Mike? If you get Mike Vrabel, yeah, that makes sense. But right now, you're taking a chance on a first-time head coach, coordinator potential. Bill Belichick's in North Carolina right now, so maybe Mike McCarthy, maybe with his contract situation. But who are you going to get that can come in and fix everything right now, right away?
Personally, I think the order of which the hiring process should take place is GM first, have him help pick the coach. If you pick the coach first, with exceptions, obviously everybody wants Vrabel, but if you pick the coach first, you're essentially having the coach pick his own boss, which coach to me is weird.
Well, I will say this about Vrabel. There's a guy in the building, Ryan Cowden, that was in Tennessee with Mike. So I don't know what their relationship is. They may have a great relationship. It may be contentious. I don't know. But that would kind of make sense if they had a good relationship, bringing Mike in, keeping Ron, maybe promoting him. But I think it's really hard to promote from within because everybody had a hand in it. Everybody had a say in what happened this particular year. So I'm never a fan of promoting up when you have a franchise that's lost because everybody is involved. So, but I think Vrabel is the hottest name out there in coaching this year on this cycle. Do you take a chance on a Rex Ryan? I don't know. But I think when you have a franchise like the Giants, you need a head coach that's been a head coach before to reset the franchise, somebody that has vision because of the market that you're in. You need somebody that been in that seat and understands the pressure that comes with that seat.
All right. Thank you for making Locked On Sports New York your first listen today. Now for your second listen, go find the new Locked On NFL with 2 shows every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowlands kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. One more note. I want to mention our partner in crime over at Locked On Giants, Patricia Traina. She's the best. So follow, subscribe, and enjoy. All right, Coach, 20-13. Mercifully, the season is over. Let's put a bow on this. 3-14 for the first time in the history of the franchise. 14 losses in one season.
Yeah, like it's hard, and we talk about Dayball coming back, Joe Shane coming back. If I'm ownership, you got to sit down and take a really hard look because what are you going to sell your fan base on going into the next season? Obviously, having a third pick in the draft, whoever that player comes in, but you put a lot of expectations on that guy, and if he doesn't live up to it, you're setting him up for failure. If you don't potentially do something, so we'll see what happens. I'm pulling for the Giants. I hope they can get it turned around, whatever decisions they make, but they've got a long road in this offseason.
All right. That is it. Our final postcast of the season. For the coach, I'm Jay Berman. We will see you soon right here on the postcast. Good night, everyone.